26th of December, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
There's Moose.
Rabbi, do we say Musaf today?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, so we continue with our review of this very important Gemora. Okay, so let's just recap it another time. Gemora, the Mishnah says that whether we return it to the Malva, this loan document, whether we return it to the lender, it depends on whether it has Achrais Nechasim, meaning that it's written explicitly in the shtar. It provides for collecting from the purchaser of the property in the event of unpayment of the loan. So the Gemara wanted to know what's the case over here that the Mishnah is talking about. What did the Levitt say? What did the borrower say? Did he admit that there's a loan to be paid? Because it's problematic either way you look at it. The Gemara answered, Le'olam, we're talking about in the Mishnah, Kishachayav Modeh. The Levitt, the borrower, admitted. He admitted that he did not pay up the loan. So if you'll ask the question, so why don't we give it back to the lender then? The loan needs to be, he needs to have proof that he paid, that it wasn't that he loaned the money and then it wasn't paid. On that, the Gemara says no, because we're not going to give it back to him in the event that it has a clause, a lien clause in it, in that case, because we were concerned that maybe there was collusion between the Malva and the Loiva to take from the purchaser of the property and split the proceeds. So therefore, we don't give it back because we're concerned that he's going to collect shelo kedin. He's going to improperly collect. So that on that what the Gemara said over here, everybody asked the question is this document the way is this document in fact a predated document? And if so, isn't it intrinsically invalid? And if so then of course he can't use it. And why should we be concerned for the possibility that we're talking about Rishoyim that are using documents that are not allowed to be used? So I don't have an answer to that question, but that's the question that we have right now. But nevertheless, the Gemora it's clear from the Gemora that the Gemora is taking on that is the concern. And so now we go to the what it says over here, Ihachi. Ihachi is, see where Ihachi is? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines from the bottom. The last 3 words on the line. The first words on the line are Asi lemitraf lekuchos shelo kedin.
12-4, left-hand column, second paragraph.
Okay, Alan, you want to read?
Yeah, it's is that it?
Yep.
Okay, if so, that we are apprehensive that the drawing of the note preceded the actual debt. Quo shetore or so l'kamein. Then, regarding all notes of indebtedness that come before us, for example, which are presented to a court of law, let us thus be apprehensive about them. I.e., let us be concerned in the case of all notes of indebtedness containing the lien provision that the drawing of the note might have preceded the actual debt and bar the creditor from satisfying his debt from encumbered property. This is obviously not the case.
Okay. So this is the Gemara is asking a challenge to the answer that we just gave. If we're going to be concerned for that, if so, all documents that come, all loan documents that come before the Bezdin, and to be paid off, and that are going against a buyer of the property purchased from the borrower. We should be concerned about this concern. And therefore we shouldn't ever take property away from the purchaser, because maybe the shtar was actually written before the loan was made, because we have no way of knowing really. We have a way of knowing, but we not necessarily always going to know. And so, if so, that we have a concern like this, so how can we ever collect from a purchaser of property? Did he purchase property from the borrower? Maybe he's collecting based the lender based upon a predated document. Okay, so what is the Gemara answer to this? Louis, you want to read the Gemara's answer?
Okay. Kol stare lo rie. All ordinary notes of indebtedness are not flawed, i.e., there is no reason to suspect their genuineness. Therefore, since there is no reason to cast suspicion upon the note, we need not concern ourselves about the possibility that the drawing of the note preceded the actual debt. Honey, Ray A. What these notes dealt with in the Mishnah are flawed. The fact that they are lost casts suspicion upon their genuineness.
Okay. Okay, and now we come to this Rashi that we had so much trouble with. Okay, let's take a look at the Rashis over here in the Gemara. I guess we didn't do any of the Rashis yet.
Well, where are we starting from the Rashis? In the Gemara?
Yeah, we'll start from the Gemara.
Well, that's only the last few lines. Anyway.
Yeah.
With the Mishnah. Okay. So you start the Rashis at the Mishnah first or at the Gemara?
Oh, yeah, you're right. We didn't do the Rashis on the Mishnah either.
Okay, so let's start at the Mishnah. It's only a few lines up. I want to cut two more lines anyway. The Mishnah. Achrios nechasim, that they're the properties that are guaranteed. She'ubad, karka, or the land is like mortgaged. She'egba, that they will collect from it. And then he has to yachzir, he has to return them below yachzir. lo yachzir, and not return. Okay. Time of the reason in the Gemara that we'll explain. Okay, so we didn't that much in the Mishnah anyway. Okay, now the Gemara. If he's chayev, he admits it. Shehalova. So the lender it is
borrower.
The borrower Moda admits Shehashtar that the star that was written Ain Perua was not collected. He admits I didn't pay back the loan. And then Amai lo chazir. Why shouldn't he return it? Im l'torof. If it was bother, if it's a bother of the lukochot of the purchaser, bother will come bedin, who that he comes to court, who tore upon it. That's torn up. Tore off is torn or bothered.
Yeah, right. This word toref is an interesting word. It's the same word as a treifa.
Yeah,
like what is it? Literally, the word means like a lion comes and he's toref his prey. He tears his prey.
Yeah.
So that's the word that's used over here to describe what the lender is doing when he's coming with this star that has Chrais Nechasim. It's got a provision in it that the property of the loiva is going to be put on lien in order to pay the loan that he loaned the lova, the borrower. And now that he has not paid, the lova has not paid. So now this gives this star with this clause gives a right to be toref lekuchos, to tear away, so to speak, the property that was purchased by the purchaser, that he purchased it from the loiva after the loan was made. Because the presumption is that if he's purchasing the property after the loan was made, so there's a we're assuming that since the star has witnesses and witnesses talk, when they go to the mikvah on Erev Shabbos, they talk about the fact that they signed, they were a witness to a star that says that so and so borrowed this money, and so now everybody knows that what's his name, the loiva is borrowing money. Oh, and if so then his property, you got to be careful, because that means his property is on lien to pay the loan. So everybody, the buyer should be aware of such a situation. That's provided that the actual loan document was not predated, but the loan was actually given on the date that the star was made. The problem is, so therefore that's what the Gemora is saying over here. If the loiva admits that the loan is that he didn't pay the loan, so that means that the Gemora is asking, so why not give this loan document back to the malva? Shouldn't he have the right to be toref from the lekuchos? In litrof lekuchos bo bedin. In litrof lekuchos kama, if he's coming to tear away the property from the purchaser, bedinhu torfin. He's doing so bedin, according to the proper dictates of the halacha. It gives him that right to do so. Why not give it back to him? Okay. So on that, the Gemara answers, no, because this star, since hani stari lo hani re'i. You read in the next Rashi, hani re'i.
I'll see you tomorrow, Metzia. Sorry, I've got to go now. I'm not up to it. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye, Roy.
Okay,
1 second. We didn't read the the Meshabde. Read the Meshabde, please.
Mishabde is that it's mortgaged up. It's on the shibu. Markaka from land. Shemakar acher that was sold to another. Another sold.
Acharei came after this.
Operated after this. That was sold after this. Oh, I left out the word came. Sorry, after this. So
which property is on lien? The property which is sold after that loan document, which with witnesses on it, has been drawn up, because we're assuming that the guy should now know that he's buying property which is on lien, and so he should pay accordingly if he wants to purchase it at all. Let the buyer beware. Okay. But over here, we're saying, honey, Rie.
Honey, Ria. Here it's Ria is that it's not good. It's bad. These things are flawed, so to speak. They're not good. Since the nafal, and since it fell, it atra curved the yesh lama. There is to say, im haya kosher, if it was a good document, haya nizher, he would be careful about it.
Right.
So it's basically saying, with Phil, he didn't care about it because it was not a good document anyway.
Right. So here we see that the Rashi's saying that he's implying that this document, a predated document, is not a kosher document. It's in fact a shtar puzzle. And he's saying that once the document falls, we're making an assumption. I mean, we say that the din on a fallen document is that it's Isra. It's now a flawed document. It's not a good document. Why? The Yesh Lomar, because there is to say, Im haya kosher, if it in fact would be a kosher document, meaning if it was not a predated document, it was a proper document that the money was lent actually at the time of the drawing up of this contract. So the contract that says Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the money it was actually lent at that time. And if so, then there is an actual shibud on the property from the date of Rosh Chodesh Nisan. It gives every right of the Malva to collect from that time property that was thereafter sold to a purchaser, because the purchaser's got to know he should be aware and on notice that there's such a document that exists, and so such a document like that, Hayanizerbo, a Malva is going to be very careful to make sure that document that guarantees and secures his right to collect from the property of the loiva is not going to fall in the middle of the street somewhere. So the fact that this document did fall in the street somewhere, somebody picked it up, that's a red flag that something funny happened. What's the funny thing that happened? That this is in fact a predated document, which should not be collected with. And therefore the lender that was given such a document, he wasn't careful with it.
So we asked the question: how could we have such a thing exist? If the document was predated, then what are the witnesses signing? What are they testifying to? They can't be testifying to the fact that the loan was made because it wasn't made.
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. But we see that this is definitely what we're talking about.
Okay.
The Gemora's question was, if you're going to be concerned about this, so how can you ever have a malva collect and be torif from a lokeach? How can you ever allow a borrower, rather a lender, to collect property from this purchaser that purchased it from the loiva, because maybe he's collecting with a document that's really predated, and in fact the loan took place after the sale of this person to this purchaser. And so therefore the purchaser has he wasn't on notice that his property is on lien. It's just because this document is predated that it looks like the loan was made at the time of the document being written. But the Gemora's answer is no, we're not going to be choshish for that, because we have no reason to assume that that's the case in any document that comes before us in the Bezdin. We assume that the Malva is presenting this in the Bezdin because it's a kosher document, and he's a kosher person. He's trying to collect his loan, and we award him the purchased property by the what's his name, by the purchaser. But if it falls somewhere, if it falls somewhere, so that means that the Malva wasn't holding on to this document. That means that we're saying that probably means it's a very strong indication that this document is not a proper document, and the Malva knew that, and he discarded it, and so therefore, if such a document comes before us and we find out that it fell, we're not gonna award. We're not gonna allow the Malva. We're not gonna give it back to the Malva to use it. We're not gonna give the Malva to use such a document. So you're asking, so why did the witnesses sign on such a document?
Apparently, the Ritva asked my question.
The Rif?
The Ritva.
The Ritva. Oh, great. Okay, very good. So what does he answer?
It doesn't answer. It just says, but how do we allow the debtor to draw up such a note initially, if it can lead to the unlawful seizure of the buyer's property in case the anticipated loan is delayed? Ritva.
I mean, who said we allowed it to be drawn up? Rashi implies that it's not kosher. Because a kosher document he would hold on to, the Malva, who was given him. I mean, if you want to know the truth of it, there's even more. It's even more difficult. Why would the Malva even loan the money when he sees such a document like this? He says, "Look, I'm loaning it to the money in Tishrei. This document says it's dated Nisan. I can't use such a document if I'm going to go." I mean, and that's the other problem with this. Why? It's very suspicious. The document says Nisan, and the Malva is coming to demand the payment. Half a year later. The whole story doesn't make the whole thing doesn't hold any water. There's a number of questions on this case.
Actually, there seems to be an answer to the Ritva. It's not in the footnote. It's in the Mishnah. It's in the Gemora. I mean, on the next page, it says the Gemora answers. Amar Ravasi said. Now the English says the Mishnah that permits a note of indebtedness to be drawn up, even if the lender is not present, speaks. Beshitre Hakana'a, about notes of acquisition, i.e., loan documents which stipulate that the borrower gives the person named as the lender an immediate lien against his real property for the amount recorded as the loan, even in the event that the lender does not lend him the money. In this case, the apprehension that the loan did not take place on the date specified in the note is irrelevant.
Okay, I'm not sure exactly how that answers anything. We'll get to it when we get to it. As you say, it's on the next page.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, first of all, the Mishnah is talking that we found a shtar chov. It's not saying that we found a shtar hakna. And secondly, if that would be the case, so then there'd be no reason to refuse to give it to the malva. And the Mishnah is talking about a case where if there is a loan clause like this that provides for payment from the purchaser, so then we don't give it back to the malva. So we're talking about a case we don't give it back to the malva. Why don't we give it back to him? Okay, so that's what I'm saying. We gotta take each step in its time and see what it is that we have. And granted, I'm not saying that we don't have any questions about why should it be like this and why didn't he do like that and blah 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 blah. We have all these questions, but we're doing the best we can. Okay. So now, in other words, we have an answer to the question why it is that we don't give it back to the malva, because this shtar fell and it has a presumption of being not a kosher shtar. Okay. How did it come to be that such a document was written? How did it come to be that the malva accepted it? How, all these questions, don't know. But that's what the Gemora is answering to explain the Mishnah at this point. Okay. Okay, now the Gemora, we go to now we are Elahad Etnan. Elahad Etnan is, what is it, 3 lines up?
It's 12B4, right-hand column, second paragraph.
Okay, Lou, you want to read?
Elahai Disnan. But how will you account for that which we have learned in a Mishnah? Kosvin Star Lalova. We may draw up a debt document for the borrower. Afal P She'ain Malva Imo. Even though the lender is not with him. Since the lender is not present, it is obvious that the witnesses who signed the note have not witnessed a loan. Nevertheless, we may draw up the note, and the witnesses may sign it at the borrower's behest, since he is the one whom the note will obligate. Okay, well, that answers one of our questions. So we've got, it's not predated or postdated, it's dated correctly. The witnesses are there on that date. The borrower is there on that date, but the lender is not there.
Well, let's see what the Gemara asks right now.
Right. I'm just clarifying in my mind the situation. The Gemara now presents its question.
But maybe I should, a point of information over here. What do we mean when we say the date is predated? We don't mean to say that they're writing a date which is before the date, before today's date. That's not what we mean when we say predated over here. That's another thing. That's another example of a predated document. But over here, the problem is that since the Malva is not there, if they're dating the document as Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and the Malva is not there, that means that it says on the face of it, it says that a loan has been made on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and the Malva is not there. That means that the loan is not being made on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, because he's the only one that gives the money. The Gemara is going to ask this question right now.
Okay.
Lechatchila,
Hechi Bas Vinahu.
yeah.
How may we draw up the note initially? Nehush Shema Basav
Kosav,
Lilovot Benitan. Let us be apprehensive that perhaps the debtor drew up the note to borrow the money in the month of Nisan, but he did not actually borrow the money until the month of Tishrei. Below Love al ad Tishrei, he did not actually borrow the money until Tishrei.
yeah,
So that's the point you just made, Rabbi, right?
right. The Gemara is asking this question right now on this Mishnah. This is a Mishnah that says that we do write such a loan document. The Gemara is asking, how could you even write it up if he's not there? That means that you're asking for trouble. The Gemara continues to elaborate what exactly is the problem that's going to happen.
Va'asei lemit raf lekul chos shelo badin. Thus, the creditor will come to unlawfully seize the property from its purchasers. But I no longer have this question, because the English that I read above says that we may draw up the note and witnesses may sign it at the borrower's behest, since he is the one whom the note will obligate. So he's saying, obligate me as of today to pay this loan, even though the loan hasn't been made yet. And then when the witnesses go to the bathhouse and they say, hey, I signed this document today, then it becomes known. So now that it's known that the property of this borrower has been subject to a lien, and the purchaser should say, okay, I'm not buying any property from this guy. He's got this unknown lien sitting there.
Okay, so I think the problem is that you read the answer before the question. The Gemora is asking a question over here. According to what the Gemora knows right now, we're not talking about a shtar hakna. We're talking about a shtar halva. That's what it says in the Mishnah. Kosvin shtar leloiva. We're writing an ordinary loan document, and the malva is not there. The Gemara is saying, how can you do that? When is the malva gonna give him the money? If the malva doesn't give him the money until 6 months later, we got a big problem, says the Gemara. How could you allow such a shtar to be written up? Why does it help that the lova, he's all right with the fact that it's written up, but the purchaser of the property from the lova, he's not okay with the fact that such a thing is going to be written up, because he's going to get his property taken away from him unlawfully when the malva comes to him and he shows him this shtar that's written Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and he says there was no such shtar, there was no such loan that was made on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and he says, oh yeah, but that's what it says in the document over here. Yeah, but that document was written up when the truth of the matter is the document was written up with the malva not even being there. So we know for a fact that the loan wasn't made on that day. So that's the Gemora's question over here.
But I'm saying I don't get the Gemora's question, because the witnesses know that the loan was not made. They know that the document was signed, that they signed the document, and they're prepared to testify that the borrower said, even though the loan's not being made right now, I'm accepting the achrayus.
Accepting what achrayus?
The achrayus on my property. So
how does that help the purchaser?
Because the purchaser now knows, because the witness.
One second. Lou, you're talking about the Gemora's answer. You're talking about the Gemora's answer. You're talking about a shtar hakna. That's not what the Gemora is talking about right now. And in other words, an ordinary loan document does not encumber property until the loan is actually made. That's the question that the Gemora has. We're assuming that we're talking about an ordinary loan document. What is an ordinary loan document? A document that doesn't encumber the lova's property until the loan is made. Because how can you expect the purchaser of the property to protect himself? Where does it say on this loan? Where does it say on the face of this document that the borrower is saying that his property should be on lien as of the date it's written on this loan? It doesn't say that. We're not talking about a case where the borrower accepts upon himself that his property is on lien as from the date that this document is written, even though the loan has not been made. That's a shtar hakna. We're talking about a regular shtar halva.
All right, so when it says kosvin shtar lalova, it doesn't specify what kind of a shtar it is. So you're saying it's a shtar halva.
It's a shtar lalova.
Right. How do you know it's not a? How do you know what kind of a shtar it is?
Well, you see from the Gemora's question that the Gemora certainly understood that it's like 90% of shtaros that a lova has written, which is a shtar, which is an ordinary shtar, which does not encumber the property from the time of the date of the shtar, but of the date of the loan. On that, the Gemora is asking the question that it's asking.
Okay, but
Gemora is not making a mistake on the question.
well, based on what my English says, I'm asking, what are the witnesses testifying to when they sign this document, knowing that the loan is not there? Signature mean?
So what does it say over there that you're bothered by? Read it to me again.
It says, nevertheless, we may draw up the note and the witnesses may sign it at the borrower's behest, since he is the one whom the note will obligate.
Oh, it doesn't say when.
Well, okay, let me read the whole English. Since the lender is not present, it is obvious that the witnesses who signed the note have not witnessed the loan.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, we can do it.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that it's saying that the document is valid without the loan having existed. Because when you authenticate the document and you ask the witnesses, did he give him the money? They say no, he wasn't there.
I'm not sure what that note means. Do they have a do they reference a source for that comment that they made over there?
No, there's no footnote on that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not I don't know where they got it from.
I do have a note over here, something to this effect. We'll have to read this not tomorrow, but I guess maybe on Yom Rishon. I see something similar actually over here. They're also bothered by this question. How is it that the Eidim are not signing Eidos Sheker on the shtar? Because the loan hasn't been made. And that's what it says in the loan. That's what it says in the document. It says that they're what are they witnessing? So this is okay. I see a note over here. We'll deal with this.
All right. Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay.
I'll
Have
see
a
you.
great day.
Okay, take care. Shabbat shalom. Chag sameach.
Chag Sameach, Phil. Bye, Alan, and bye, Lou.